Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 26 based on novel. So let's start. Lin Dong and a dozen Blood Demon Shark clan experts faced off in the sky above the sea. The atmosphere was extremely tense, and iciness flowed in all their eyes. These experts from the Blood Demon Shark clan were usually extremely overbearing. It was impossible to count just how many lives had been taken by their hands. Hence, all of them were extremely violent and ferocious. However, Lin Dong was no saint either. Not long ago, he had beaten a half-step profound death stage expert until the latter almost became a human baton. The ruthlessness within his bones could only be greater than these members of the Blood Demon Shark clan. A clash between two parties who would undoubtedly not give in to each other. Brat, are you certain that you wish to become an enemy of my Blood Demon Shark clan? Trust me, this is an extremely foolish act. Commander Xia's expression turned dark and solemn. However, his tone was clearly a little better compared to earlier. It seemed that after the brief exchange earlier, he also understood that it was not as easy as he had imagined to finish off this Lin Dong. I do not wish to be enemies with others. However, I also do not wish to be bullied by others. Lin Dong's eyes stared at the gloomy-looking Commander Xia. The cold glint in his eyes seemed to have weakened slightly. I have naturally heard of the great name of your noble clan. I do not wish to know just what mission you are currently undertaking now. However, please do not disturb my travels. I also have some urgent matters to attend to. Why don't we do it this way? We will not bother each other and take a step back. Each of us will mind our own business. What do you say? Commander Xia's eyes narrowed. Those dark red eyes appeared rather terrifying. He met Lin Dong's gaze as his eyes flickered slightly. A moment later, the fiendish aura that covered his body greatly diminished, as a smile appeared on his dark and solemn face. This friend is right. We were indeed a little reckless earlier. From the looks of it, you are likely not the person we are looking for. A somewhat friendly smile surfaced on Lin Dong's face as he heard this. However, there was an additional trace of caution in his heart. This change in Commander Xia was indeed a little too strange. Can I leave now? Lin Dong smiled as he asked. Please do. Commander Xia grinned and nodded. After which, he waved his hand. Those Blood Demon Shark clan experts around him hesitated for a moment, before withdrawing their malicious aura. Many thanks. Lin Dong cupped his hands together. Without further ado, his body moved and transformed into a green light that shot towards the distance. However, a cold glint flickered in his eyes as his back faced Commander Xia. He was aware that the sudden change in this Commander Xia definitely meant that the latter had some schemes up his sleeve. However, Lin Dong was currently unable to tell just what this Commander Xia was thinking. His body turned into a flash of green light that swiftly disappeared into the distance. Commander Xia, we simply going to let him go? A Blood Demon Shark clan experts could not help but ask after Lin Dong had disappeared into the distance. Let him go? Commander Xia's face immediately revealed a sinister aura upon hearing those words. He laughed in a dark and cold voice. The first time that this brat met us is 7 days ago. Yet, he is still here after 7 days. This part of the sea is barren. Why would he remain in this damn deserted place for 7 days? Don't tell me that it is for fun. Commander Xia means that. The one who rescued Mu Lingshan is most likely him. Commander Xia's eyes were venomous as he said. Then why did you let him go? A person asked in surprise. It is because I have no confidence in retaining him. Commander Xia replied in an indifferent voice. His eyes looked in the direction where Lin Dong was heading and said, although that fellow might appear to be a mere initial profound life stage practitioner, his fighting strength is comparable to an advanced profound life stage practitioner. Even if I go all out and attack him, I would not be able to keep him here even if I emerge victorious. What should we do next? Trying to escape from my Blood Demon Shark clan in the sea is not going to be easy. I have already used the blood shark seeking technique on him. He will not be able to escape. Additionally, immediately dispatch this information to the other section leaders. Ask them to hurry over. I will only have the absolute confidence to capture this person after they arrive. Understood. The surrounding Blood Demon Shark clan experts immediately replied after hearing Commander Shia's orders. After which, their bodies submerged into the water. Soon after, many sonic waves quietly spread at lightning speed in the water. Fool who does not know his limits. How dare you interfere in the matters of my Blood Demon Shark clan? Next, I will let you know just who you cannot afford to offend within this chaotic demon sea. Commander Shia's eyes looked in the direction where Lin Dong had headed towards while he muttered. A cruel expression flashed across his eyes. A green light shot through the sky. However, Lin Dong's expression did not appear relaxed. Instead, it was a little grim. He glanced at the area behind him as he gently clenched his hand. That fellow, could he really have let me off like this? You are being followed. Yang replied in a faint voice. What? Lin Dong was immediately alarmed upon hearing this. His eyes swept around him, but did not see any human figures or sensed any presences. It should be a unique tracking method of the Blood Demon Shark clan. They are at the bottom of the sea. Yang cautioned. Lin Dong lowered his head, as green light surged within his eyes. It seemed as though his sight had directly penetrated through the sea. He could see an extremely blurry bloody light that was swiftly swimming in his direction at the bottom of the sea. That fellow should have sensed your strength. He does not have the confidence to capture you alone. This act of his is merely an attempt to make you let down your guard. He will surround and capture you once reinforcements arrive. Yang said. A cold glint surged within Lin Dong's eyes. He was aware that besides Commander Xia, this Blood Demon Shark clan unit had 10 other experts who had reached the initial profound life stage. If they were to join hands, it would indeed result in an extremely troublesome predicament for Lin Dong. Can you remove the thing that is allowing them to follow us? Lin Dong asked. It will be quite troublesome. The Blood Demon Shark clan tracking technique has its own unique aspects. Yang replied. Lin Dong pursed his lips, as a fierce glint flashed across his eyes. If this was the case, it seemed that he could only act and eliminate them. Brother Lin Dong, you are being followed by them. Mu Lingshan's voice suddenly emerged from the burning sky cauldron while Lin Dong was conversing with Yang in his mind. Since Lin Dong did not block her senses, she was able to sense everything that was happened in the outside world. I? Lin Dong nodded. Mu Lingshan was from the Sea Demon tribe. It was not strange for her to be able to detect the Blood Demon Shark clan tracking them, even though Lin Dong had failed to do so. Since we cannot escape from them, we can only attack. Lin Dong softly stated. Mu Lingshan, who was inside the burning sky cauldron, was quiet for a moment. She was aware that she seemed to have brought some trouble to Lin Dong. Her voice was once again emitted a moment later, Brother Lin Dong. If you wish to fight with them, I can lend you my life-death coffin cover. Lin Dong could sense the burning sky cauldron in his sleeve tremble after her words sounded. Soon after, a black light came rushing out. It turned into an extremely thick black coffin cover in front of Lin Dong. An extremely frightening ripple emerged from the coffin cover. Lin Dong looked at the life-death coffin cover before him, and was a little stunned. He never expected that this Mu Lingshan had such great trust in him. If such a treasure was revealed, it would end up drawing the attacks of countless crazed experts. However, Lin Dong did not hesitate. He was clearly aware that he would be a pain to face an advanced profound life stage expert and 10 initial profound life stage experts. However, if he had the life-death coffin cover aiding him, things would undoubtedly be much easier. Since that is the case, Lin Dong's hand touched the life-death coffin cover. He could clearly sense a resistance being emitted from within it when he extended his hand. However, a thought was quickly emitted from within the burning sky cauldron, which removed this resistance. Clearly, Mu Lingshan had intervened. Lin Dong's hand touched the life-death coffin cover. After which, he lifted it up and placed it on his back. His mouth parted into a smile that was malicious and filled with ferocity. In that case, we should attack first before they have the opportunity to gather. A dozen blood sharks swiftly swam across the surface of the sea. There were a dozen blood demon shark clan experts on these blood sharks, whose gazes continuously swept back and forth. Squadron leader, we have received some news. A blood demon shark clan expert suddenly extended his hand from the water. He looked at a man with a hooked nose at the front, while speaking in a loud voice. What is it? That hooked-nosed man looked over after hearing those words. Commander Shia says that he has discovered the target, and has used the tracking technique on it. Oh. So he has found it, huh? Check the location of that person. Joy flashed across the hooked-nosed man's eyes as he hurriedly said. A person swiftly took out a dark red scale plate. Light flowed on it. At this moment, there was a flickering red spot on the scale plate. Eh? That person looked at the flickering red spot and involuntarily exclaimed. What is it? That hook-nosed man knitted his brows and asked. That person's position seems to be extremely close to us. Wait, he is swiftly approaching us. The Blood Demon Shark Clan expert exclaimed. They are heading right for us? Heh, just as well. This is a merit that is being delivered right to our doorstep. That hook-nosed man's mouth parted to form a sinisterly cold smile. He lifted his head and looked towards a certain direction, before crying out sternly, everyone stay alert. There will definitely be a reward for all of you once we complete our mission. Understood? Those members of this small squadron from the Blood Demon Shark clan around him hurriedly replied after hearing these words. They clenched their hands, as tridents that gave off a cold light flashed and appeared. Swoosh! A sudden rushing wind sound appeared over the surface of the sea a short distance away soon after they made their preparations. Subsequently, a green light came rushing over. In the end, it turned into a thin figure that appeared within the sights of this small Blood Demon Shark clan squadron. Ha, looks like I've found the right place. Lin Dong looked at this small squadron from the Blood Demon Shark clan that had appeared in front of him, as he involuntarily smiled. Brat, you are really barging into hell. Since you have come, don't even think of leaving. That hook-nosed man's face contained a cold smile as he stared at Lin Dong. Immediately, a ruthless expression flashed across his eyes, as he waved his hand. Capture him. Bang! The somewhat powerful dozen experts behind the hook-nosed man came rushing forward after he shouted. Sharp tridents were accompanied by a dense bloody light as they directly pierced towards the fatal points around Lin Dong's body. I am not here to barge into hell. Instead, I am here to deliver all of you there. Lin Dong looked at these Blood Demon Shark clan experts, who had unleashed lethal blows the moment they attacked. However, a gentle smile appeared on his face. He immediately extended his hand, and grabbed the enormous life-death coffin cover behind him, as his body turned into a flash of green light that suddenly rushed forward. Swoosh! The flash of green light was just like lightning. It swept past the dozen Blood Demon Shark clan experts at an indescribable speed. A low and deep muffled sound stealthy echoed at that instant. Lin Dong's body appeared behind the dozen Blood Demon Shark clan experts. After which, he walked towards the hook-nosed man without looking back. After he took his 10th step, the bodies of those Blood Demon Shark clan experts began to turn dull grey at an astonishing speed. Their life force had been completely cut off at this moment. Splash! Human figures fell from the air into the sea. The ferocity and excitement from when they were alive still lingered on their faces, a scene that was somewhat weird. Clearly, their life force had been cut off far too quickly, that even the horror from just before their deaths was unable to appear on their faces. You? Who exactly are you? The hook-nosed man was so horrified by this scene, that his pupils tightly contracted. Only at this moment did he understand, the one who had appeared in front of them was not a freebie, but a true death god. Sorry, it is your fault for wanting to kill me. Lin Dong smiled slightly towards the hook-nosed man. Faint black light flowed on the pitch-black coffin cover as he gently lifted it. Bang! The expression of the hook-nosed man changed drastically. He slammed his foot onto the blood shark under him, as it opened its hideous giant mouth and leaped into the sky before biting at Lin Dong. The hook-nosed man, on the other hand, had already fled from the blood shark and was attempting to submerge into the water. This fellow is really powerful. It seems that I alone will not be able to take him down. I can only gather the others. Unwillingness and viciousness flashed across the hook-nosed man's eyes as he was about to submerge into the sea. Your companions have all died. It is not very nice to be the only one surviving, is it? However, a laughter suddenly sounded beside the hook-nosed man, and his pupils immediately contracted. He suddenly raised his head, and was just in time to see the black coffin cover ruthlessly smashing towards him while being accompanied by a death-like ripple. Bang! Majestic yuan power surged out from within the hook-nosed man's body without restraint. However, the black coffin cover completely ignored this and continued to be swung downwards. Boom! A muffled sound once again rang out. The black coffin cover suffused with black light heavily landed on the body of the hook-nosed man, as seawater immediately exploded. 1,000 feet large water pillar charged towards the sky, as a wave of death charged into the hook-nosed man's body like hot knife through butter. Ugh! A mouthful of black blood spurted out from the mouth of the hook-nosed man, whose face was filled with horror. Subsequently, the sight before his eyes rapidly turned into darkness. The life force within his body was rapidly being severed by the deathly fluctuation that had invaded his body, while the life chi within his body lost all its recovery properties. Life-death. Coffin cover. Why is it in his hands? These were the final thoughts of the hook-nosed man the moment his life force completely disappeared. Lin Dong stood in the air. His eyes glanced indifferently at the hook-nosed man, whose life force had completely been severed. Soon after, he lowered his head and looked at the life-death coffin cover in his hand, as admiration involuntarily flitted across his eyes. It was likely that his burning sky cauldron would only be able to compare to the destructive prowess of this life-death coffin cover after that burning sky gate was refined. Yang, where is the second nearest small blood demon shark clan squadron? Lin Dong once again raised his head after finishing off this small squadron of the blood demon shark clan, as he asked in his mind. Northwest direction. Lin Dong nodded. Without further ado, his body moved and turned into a flash green light, which once again swept forth. Since that Commander Xia was planning dealing with Lin Dong after gathering his men, Lin Dong could only completely remove all of his henchmen in advance. Half an hour later, at a certain spot in the northwestern part of this sea region, Lin Dong lowered his head and looked at the ferocious faces of the small squadron from the Blood Demon Shark clan. However, he merely smiled a little. Without uttering any unnecessary words, he grabbed the life-death coffin cover and charged downwards. A couple of minutes later, there were a dozen dull grey corpses floating on the surface of the sea. Bang! The life-death coffin cover released strange undulations as it smashed into a small squadron leader of the Blood Demon Shark clan at lightning speed. Wild and violent force erupted, and that figure was directly swatted into the sea. It was void of all life when it resurfaced. This is the fourth initial profound life stage squadron leader. Lin Dong glanced at the now-dead expert from the Blood Demon Shark clan. With an indifferent smile, his body once again swept forth without pause. A completely merciless slaughter was quietly being enacted in this sea region. All the experts from the Blood Demon Shark clan completely lost their lives wherever the green light figure passed. None of them was able to escape from the hands of this thin death godlike figure. It was a completely one-sided slaughter fest. This human scum. At a certain area of the sea region, Commander Xia gazed at the floating corpses on the surface of the sea. His expression became unusually green with fury. Finally, he could not resist and roared towards the sky. His roar was filled with a bitterness. Commander Xia, 6 of our 10 initial profound life stage small squadron leaders have already died at that fellow's hands. Moreover, the 6 squadrons were completely annihilated. Behind Commander Xia was a squadron leader who was fortunate enough to have met up with the former. However, his complexion was currently a little pale. He was aware that if it was not because he just so happened to be located somewhat near the former, that Death God would have already come looking for him. This is the 7th person. Commander Xia's eyes were frighteningly dark and cold. Even his voice had become a little hoarse. Has another been found? The squadron leader's expression changed slightly after hearing these words. He immediately looked at the other two squadron leaders beside him, as his mouth involuntarily became a little dry. Now, he seems to have finished off all the squadrons other than the few of us here. Commander Shear, what should we do? Another squadron leader spoke in a somewhat frightened manner. Should we beat a temporary retreat and call some reinforcements from the clan? A person carefully suggested. Bang! However, the ferocious-looking Commander Shear threw a punch at that person's head as the latter's word sounded. It directly sent him flying over 1,000 feet away. That brat has stopped. Follow me. I must personally shatter the head of this little bastard. I will cripple anyone else who dares to suggest withdrawing. Commander Shear's face was filled with a dark and evil aura. The remaining Blood Demon Shark clan experts hurriedly nodded upon hearing his merciless words. None of them dared to say anything else. Bastard, I will definitely make you suffer a fate worse than death once you land in this commander's hands. Commander Shear waved his hand, as the blood shark under his feet immediately whistled forward. Dozens of Blood Demon Shark clan experts hurriedly followed behind him. They had merely traveled for over 10 minutes this time around, before they gradually came to a halt. Soon after, many pairs of eyes were lifted, as they looked at the surface of the sea in front of them. A skinny young man with an enormous black coffin cover was standing there as he smilingly stared at them. In the face of his smile, even ruthless people like them involuntarily felt a chill rising within their hearts. On the sparkling surface of the sea, Commander Shear's expression was dark as he looked at the skinny young man standing on the water to his front. The corners of his mouth slightly twitched. It seemed that he intended to endure for a while, but was ultimately unsuccessful. Traces of ferociousness climbed onto his face, and the fury in his eyes seemed to be about to tear Lindong to pieces. Brat, your tactic is excellent. Commander Shear breathed in deeply, and spoke in a dark voice. Originally, he had planned on secretly tracking Lindong while summoning the 10 section leaders to encircle Lindong in a foolproof strike. However, he did not expect that Lindong's methods would be even more vicious than his own. Lindong had simply eliminated those section leaders. In this way, Lindong had managed to cut off all his reinforcements. Isn't this because Commander Shear has forced my hand? Lindong faintly smiled and said, if you had not concocted such a crafty scheme that allowed me to leave, none of this would have happened. Ultimately, you reap what you sow. You dare to interfere in the matters of our Blood Demon Shark clan. Do you think that I will let you off? Commander Shear fiercely spoke. Hence, Commander Shear cannot blame me for being ruthless. If one does not have a little ruthlessness in this chaotic demon sea, it is likely that even one's bones will be completely eaten by someone else. Lindong softly replied. He was not surprised that Commander Shear had been able to guess that it was him who had rescued Mu Lingshan. After all, they had met each other before, and furthermore he was still lingering in the area after such a long time. It was not strange for him to have aroused suspicion. Since you have provoked my Blood Demon Shark clan, let alone your bones, even your Yuan spirit will be tortured repeatedly, causing you to suffer a fate worse than death. Commander Shear grinned as he spoke. His sharp, sinister-looking teeth gave off an intensely chilling aura. I always do things in a clean manner. There will naturally be no one who will know of what happened here as long as I finish all of you off. Lindong chuckled. With just yourself? Commander Shear's pupils contracted slightly as he sneered. With just me. Lindong smiled and nodded. After which, he grabbed the life-death coffin cover, and powerfully stomped on surface of the sea. Immediately, a monstrous wave began to spread from under his feet. Life-death coffin cover, what have you done to Mu Lingshan? Commander Shear's face involuntarily twitched when he saw the black coffin cover in Lindong's hands. Could it be that you have killed her and snatched the life-death coffin cover? I am not as perverse as all of you. I am helping her finish off all of you, hence, she has temporarily loaned me this to use. Lindong was rather amused. He had not expected that these fellows would actually have such a cruel way of thinking. Commander Shear's eyes were menacing. His gaze contained some fear as he glanced at the life-death coffin cover in Lin Dong's hands. After some silence, he asked, "Lad, if you hand over Mu Lingshan and the life-death coffin cover, I will guarantee that we will not bother you about those things that you have done earlier. I think that you should have heard of how our Blood Demon Shark clan handles matters. Offending us will cause you to be unable to eat or sleep in peace." Lin Dong stared at Commander Xie. He appeared to give the matter some thought, before shaking his head as he smiled. "Sorry, I reject. It seems that you will only submit to force." The brutal expression in Commander Xie's eyes involuntarily surged once again, as he sternly replied. "Brat, even though you possess the life-death coffin cover, you only have the strength of the initial profound life stage. There is an advanced profound life stage and 3 initial profound life stage experts on my side. Are you planning to launch a sneak attack on me while uttering so much nonsense?" Lin Dong laughed softly. An icy cold expression surged into those pitch-black eyes of his. The life-death coffin cover in his hand suddenly smashed violently onto the surface of the sea. Immediately, an extremely berserk ripple charged into the sea. Bang bang! The surface of the sea exploded at this moment, as several figures shot out in a miserable manner. After which, a mouthful of fresh blood spat out from them. Clearly, they were quite badly injured. Attack! Commander Xie's eyes turned completely dark and cold after seeing that the sneak attack had failed. With a wave of his hand, the dozen experts behind him rushed out at the same time. Wild and violent attacks poured onto Lin Dong like a storm. Lin Dong hurriedly took 2 steps in response. His body leaned to the side, and hid behind the life-death coffin cover. Bang bang bang. The many attacks landed on the life-death coffin cover, causing muffled noises to be emitted. However, all the attacks completely vanished when black light flowed on the coffin cover. Boom! The many attacks were forcefully blocked by the life-death coffin cover. Lin Dong's foot pushed off the water as he charged forward. Green light surged, and in a flash, he had appeared in front of the many Blood Demon Shark clan experts. The coffin cover in his hand was like a large rod that violently swung forward. Bang bang! The life-death coffin cover landed heavily onto those Blood Demon Shark clan experts who had failed to dodge in time. Black light surged, and practically no one could stop it. The body of anyone who was struck by the attack would swiftly turn dull gray. Their life force was severed, and corpses continuously fell from the air and dropped into the sea. At this moment, Lin Dong was just like a death god. The life-death coffin cover was like the death god's scythe. Whoever touched it would die. Boom! The life-death coffin cover was once again swung forward, sending 2 Blood Demon Shark clan experts with the strength of the 8 Yuan Nirvana stage flying. Lin Dong was about to charge forward once again, when an extremely sharp rushing wind sound suddenly appeared above his head. A bright red trident was accompanied by an extremely wild and violent wind, as it thrust towards his head at lightning speed. Lin Dong's foot kicked off the life-death coffin cover, causing it to fly and collide head-on with that sharp trident. Bang! A deafening sound was heard as the life-death coffin cover was reflected back for the first time, before being caught by Lin Dong. He lifted his head and saw a Commander Xie who had also been forced to take a step back. It seemed that this advanced profound life stage expert was finally unable to bear seeing Lin Dong's overwhelming one-sided slaughter. Such strength is pretty decent. Lin Dong glanced at the dark and cold expression on Commander Xie. This person was likely even stronger than Shintu Ju. Additionally, as a member of the Sea Demon tribe, his physical body was also relatively strong. Such an opponent would be quite troublesome to deal with. I will battle you later. Lin Dong smiled at Commander Xie. Green light flashed on his body, as green dragon wings appeared. His body moved and his speed suddenly soared. After which, he charged into the group of Blood Demon Shark experts in a ghost-like fashion. The life-death coffin cover was swung, as it fearlessly took one life after another. Bastard! Commander Xie watched as his troops suffered serious injuries and losses in the face of Lin Dong's charge, as his expression grew increasingly ferocious. With a furious roar, he attempted to give chase, but Lin Dong's speed was currently even faster than his own. Every time he managed to catch up to Lin Dong, the latter would have already taken the life of his target. This battle situation had thus become a little comical. Lin Dong was charging about and killing alone, while Commander Xia furiously chased behind. However, the latter could only helplessly watch as icy-cold corpses fell one after another. In a short 10 minutes, the slaughter had come to an end. There were already a dozen corpses floating on the sea. Other than Lin Dong, only Commander Xia and the 3 initial Profound Life Stage small squadron leaders were left in the air. "You lunatic!" The 3 squadron leaders watched this scene with pale faces. It was the first time that they had witnessed the ruthlessness of this smiling young man before them. In just 10 minutes, he had completely killed off all of their subordinates without a change in his expression. Lin Dong's face was indifferent. He glanced at the blood on the life-death coffin cover in his hands. After which, he looked at Commander Xia and softly said, "I have told you not to force my hand. If you are vicious, I will be even more vicious than you." Commander Xia looked at those corpses on the surface of the sea. The fury that had surged in his eyes had strangely disappeared at this moment. Soon after, he lifted his head, as though scarlet-red eyes stared at Lin Dong. "Have you killed enough?" Lin Dong slowly lifted the life-death coffin cover in his hand, and pointed at Commander Xia's group as he replied, "It's your turn. If you have killed enough, you can now go and accompany them." The ferocity on Commander Xia's face had reached its peak at this moment. Monstrous blood light surged from within his body. After which, it turned into a large blood-colored shark behind him. This shark opened its huge mouth, as a suction force erupted, and flew towards the corpses floating on the sea. In the end, all those corpses were devoured by the huge shark. Crunch! The huge shark's sharp teeth tore at the corpses, as fresh blood poured down like rain. A layer of viscous bloody light surged on the surface of Commander Xia's body after those corpses were completely chewed and swallowed by the large shark, while an extremely strange and sinister ripple slowly spread from his body. Commander Xia slowly raised his head. His eyes seemed to be filled with fresh blood. He grinned, revealing his sinisterly white teeth to Lin Dong along with his desire to kill. "I have felt the horror from before their deaths. They wish for me to bite off every inch of the flesh on your body." As a voice filled with killing intent echoed, a monstrous bloody aura suddenly swept out from Commander Xia's body, and completely covered this entire sea region. This video will end here.